नमस्कार विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो. तर we have learned the concept of speed and velocity in the last lecture. Okay, in this lecture we are going to learn the uniform and non-uniform linear motion. Okay, so let's take this example. Okay, here the Amar, Akbar and Anthony are the three friends. Okay, those three friends are traveling by the different car with a different velocity. म्हणजे हे अमर, अकबर आणि अँथनी असे तीन मित्र आहेत. सो हे तीन वेगवेगळ्या कारने त्यांचा जो प्रवास करत आहेत वेगळ्या व्हेलॉसिटीने. व्हॉट एव्हर दी डिस्टन्सेस कवर्ड बाय Amar, Akbar and Anthony. Okay, so that is given in the table, in the format of table. Okay, whatever the time required for to cover that distance for each individual, it is also given there. Okay, now so in the section of use your brain power of your textbook, okay, they have asked you some the question related to that example. Okay, so that is the distances covered by each individual. Amar has covered the whatever the total 120 kilometer distance. Akbar has covered the 120 kilometer distance, and Anthony has covered the 84 kilometer distance. Okay, and that is the time. Okay, and they have noted the time. They have noted the time after each half an hour. Okay, म्हणजे प्रत्येक अर्ध्या तासाने त्यांनी त्यांचा ते जो काही टाइम होता तो नोट केला. ओके, आणि प्रत्येकाचा डिस्टन्स मेजर केलेला आहे. सो लेट स्टार्ट. So first question is that what is the time interval between the notings of distances made by Amar, Akbar and Anthony? What is the time interval between the notings? Okay, so what is that time interval? पहिला कधी केला 5 ला स्टार्ट झाले त्यावेळी, बरोबर. नेक्स्ट नोटिंग इज ॲट दी 5:30 विच मीन्स आफ्टर एन हाफ एन आवर. ओके, सो हाफ आवर नंतर त्यांनी असं नोटिंग केले. 5 नंतर 5:30, देन 6, देन 6:30, देन 7, देन 7:30, देन 8. म्हणजे प्रत्येक अर्ध्या तासानंतर त्यांनी नोट डाऊन केले. सो व्हॉट इज द आन्सर हिअर? दॅट इज द हाफ आवर. Okay, so that is the time interval between the noting. Then who covered equal distances in equal time? Who covered the equal distances? Okay, suppose take Amar first. So Amar has covered 20 kilometer in first half hour. Okay, then another second half hour from 20 to 40, which means 40 minus 20 again 20 kilometer. Then again 60 minus 40 20, 80 minus 60 20. Okay, so Amar has covered 20 kilometer distance per half hour. म्हणजे प्रत्येक अर्ध्या तासाला त्यानं 20 किलोमीटर डिस्टन्स वाढवत गेला, याचा अर्थ कव्हर केलं. नाउ टेक Akbar has covered first 18 kilometer, then 36 minus 18 again 18. तर लिहूया आपण वाटलंच तर. Okay, okay. Now the Akbar has covered the distance first 18, then again 18, then 6, then 28, then 25. Okay, and then again 25. Okay, now the Anthony has covered the distance 14 kilometer, then again 14, again 14, then again 14, and last also he has covered the 14 kilometer distance in each interval of time. So who covered the equal distance and distances in equal time? That Amar and Anthony. Amar covers 20 kilometer distance and Anthony covers 14 kilometer distance. Okay, now our third question: are all the distances covered by Akbar in the fixed time interval with the same? So the Akbar has covered he has covered the 18 kilometer, then again 18, then in the third noting he has covered the just 6 kilometer, then in 4:28. Okay, so he has covered the unequal distance in a equal time interval. So the answer is that no. Covers unequal distance. Okay. Now the fourth question, that is the considering the distances covered by the Amar, Akbar and Anthony in the fixed time interval. What you can say about their speed? Okay, so Amar has covered the total 120 km distance. Okay, up to the 8 o'clock. Then Akbar has covered the 120, again same up to the 8 o'clock, and Anthony has covered the 84 km distance to the 8 o'clock. Okay, but Amar has a constant speed here, then Anthony has also constant speed here. Okay, which means Amar and Anthony covers the equal amount or the equal distances in an equal time interval. Okay, but Akbar has the unequal distances in an equal time interval. Their time interval is half hour, or you can say as the 30 minutes. Okay, so their time interval is 30 minutes. So time interval is same for each noding. Okay, but the distances covered by the different individuals is been different there. Okay, so what you can say that Amar and Anthony has covered equal distance in equal time interval. Okay, and Akbar covered unequal distance in equal time interval. Okay, got it? So that is the uniform and non-uniform linear motion. Okay, so what is that uniform linear motion? Uniform linear means that the motion in a straight line. When object travels in a straight direction, that is called as the linear motion. So what is the definition of your uniform linear motion? If an object covers equal distances in an equal time interval, that is known as the uniform motion. And what is the non-uniform now? Non-uniform linear motion. So that is the if an object covers unequal distance in a equal time. Okay, so it is called as the non-uniform linear motion. Got it? Okay, so let's take another example. If there is suppose a one person, okay, he is going from one place to another place. Okay, so he has covered some distance with some time. Okay, so if suppose first of all he covered some 50-meter distance. Okay, in a 5 second. Okay, after another 5 second he has covered the total distance of that 100-meter. Then he has covered the 150-meter in the interval of 5 seconds. Okay, it means he has covered the equal amount of distance in a equal interval of time. प्रत्येक 5 सेकंदानंतर तो 50 मीटर पुढे जात होता. Okay, so that is the example of uniform linear motion. His motion is uniform, his motion is constant there. Okay, so now for the non-uniform linear motion, suppose similar person is there, he is traveling from one point to another point. So first he reached to the 50 meters, in first 5 seconds. Okay, in another 5 second has covered the 150 meter. Okay, then in another 5 seconds he has covered the 150 meter, he has covered the 200-meter distance. Okay, so for each 5 seconds he has covered the different amount of the distance. So first he has covered the 5 meter, then he has covered the 150 minus 50, 100, then he has covered the 50 meter. Okay, so he has covered the different values of the distance in a same interval of time. It means that is the example of non-uniform linear motion. Okay, got it? Okay, so now next term is the acceleration. Okay, so in this section of let's try, there is some activity that like take a one long pipe of 1 meter and cut it into two pieces, like in a lengthwise, like you can make a two holes of that pipe, or you can make a two channels. Then take one channel of that pipe. Okay, so suppose, so this is the channel of that your pipe. Okay, then take a ball there, some ball, and release it from the top, there. Okay, and observe the whatever the velocity of ball from the top to bottom, top, middle and the bottom. Okay, now you can do it at your home also. So as you are observing the velocity of ball from that top, middle and the bottom, you come to know that there is a change in velocity of that object. Okay, there is a different velocity at the top when that ball is at the state of rest or in the hand. Then there is a different velocity in the middle and different velocity at the bottom. Okay, so there is a change in velocity. In your textbook they ask you the question that is the velocity remains same for the all positions of, suppose, position 1, position 2 and position 3, for the all positions of that ball. So the answer is no, the velocity of ball will be changed there. Okay, now so you have observed that there is a change in velocity. Take another example from your textbook, that you are sliding in a park or whatever the your garden. There is a slide. So whatever the velocity of you at the top, okay, is different, whatever the velocity of you at the middle is different of that slide, and whatever the velocity of you at the bottom is different. Okay, so what is that? If when you are top at that slide, okay, you are at the state of rest, it means state of rest म्हणजे थांबलेल्या अवस्थेत आहे, which means there is a no motion. So as there is no motion, it means there is a no any velocity. Okay, so suppose consider this is the slide and this is you. Okay, so that is your position 1 at the top. So you are at the state of rest, there means no velocity. Okay, so it will be maximum at near about the middle or near about your bottom point. So max velocity consider, and so at the last when you are again at the state of rest, it means then again there is a no velocity. Okay, or zero velocity, zero. Okay, so velocity at the top it is 0, velocity at the middle or near about the middle it is maximum 1, and velocity at the bottom where you are again in the state of rest, that is again 0 velocity. Okay, got it. So here you come to know that when object moves, there may be a change in velocity, म्हणजे आपण सुद्धा काही वेळा काही आपली गाडी वगैरे चालवत असताना when you are driving your vehicle, okay, you are accelerating your vehicle, तुम्ही काय करता, तुमची व्हेकल ऍक्सलेट करता याचाच अर्थ वेलोसिटी वाढवता. ओके, कळलं. किंवा कधी कधी वेलोसिटी कमी सुद्धा करू शकता, ब्रेक ब्रेक करतं त्यावेळी वेलॉसिटी ब्रेकिंग करतं त्यावेळी वेलॉसिटी कमी सुद्धा होऊ शकते. सो acceleration is nothing but the change in velocity per unit time. Acceleration is called as the change in the velocity of the object, of moving object, per unit time, which means per unit means divided by time. Okay, so acceleration mathematically, okay, so what is its relation, or basically it is denoted by letter A or alpha. So change of velocity per unit time. Okay, now the change in velocity, when the change will happen, change is nothing but the difference, between two values. Okay, so what are the two values? That is the final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time, that is the acceleration. So that acceleration is equal to final velocity is denoted by V, initial velocity is denoted by letter U, and time is denoted by small letter t. Okay, so that is the formula of your acceleration, and this is the definition of your acceleration. Change in the velocity of moving object per unit time is known as acceleration. Got it? Okay. Okay, so the acceleration has also the two types, that is the uniform and non-uniform acceleration. So the first, uniform means if the change in velocity of your object, okay, is equal in equal interval of time, that is known as the uniform acceleration, or you can call it as the object changes its velocity in equal amount in a equal time interval is known as uniform acceleration. Okay, if the object changes its whatever the velocity, or the change in velocity of that object is equal in equal time interval, that is known as the uniform acceleration. So again, exactly opposite to that, the non-uniform acceleration. Now non-uniform acceleration is what? When the object changes its velocity in a unequal amount in equal time interval, that is known as the non-uniform acceleration, or it is that the object is so said to be in a non-uniform acceleration. Okay, so the object changes unequal velocity in a equal time interval, then is known as non-uniform acceleration. Okay, now let's take an example of this. Okay, uniform acceleration, which means if suppose person is moving, okay, suppose he has the velocity 5 meter per second. Okay, for first 5 seconds. Then he has the velocity of 10 meter per second in the another 5 seconds. Then he has the velocity of 15 meter per second in another 5 seconds. At last he has the velocity of 20 meter per second in the last 5 seconds. Okay, so for the first 5 seconds he has the 5 meter per second, then another 5, 10, then 15, 20. Okay, so whatever the change in velocity is same, because he has first accelerated by the 5 meter per second. पहिला त्याचं 5 मीटर पर सेकंद होतं, नंतर किती झालं 10, बरोबर, म्हणजे 5 न वाढलं, बरोबर. आता परत 10 पासून परत 5 नेच चेंज इन वेलोसिटी सेम आहे, चेंज किती झाला परत 5 चा झाला, परत चेंज कितीचा झाला परत 5 चा, 20 मायनस 15 अगेन 5. सो दॅट चेंज इन वेलोसिटी इज इक्वल, चेंज इन वेलोसिटी कितीचा राहिला 5 मीटर पर सेकंडचा चेंज राहिला. ओके, नाउ फॉर द नॉन युनिफॉर्म motion or the non-uniform acceleration, if suppose object is moving with the 5 meter per second for the first 5 seconds, okay, then he has the 10 meter per second, then he has the 20 meter per second, then he has the 35 meter per second, then he has the speed of suppose 40 meter per second. Okay, for each 5 seconds. म्हणजे प्रत्येक 5 सेकंदानंतर बघा. So first of all he has the 5 meter per second speed, then he attains the speed of 10 meter per second. After that he attains the speed of 20 meter per second, then 35, then 40, which means the whatever the change in velocity is different for each interval. Okay, for first the change in velocity is 10 minus 5 meter per second. Okay, so there is a change 5 meter per second. Now here the change in velocity at final velocity is 20 and initial velocity is 10, so 20 minus 10, it has a 10 meter per second. Then at the third case 35 minus 20, 50 meter per second. Then there is a 40 minus 35, 5 meter per second. So whatever the change in velocity is different here, first 5, then 10, then 15, then 5 meter. Okay, so that case is considered as the non-uniform acceleration, when the object changes unequal velocity, okay, in equal time interval, that is known as the non-uniform acceleration. Okay, got it? Okay, now when any object is in a acceleration, it may be a positive, negative or a zero acceleration. Okay, so let us learn that positive acceleration first. So positive acceleration, which means if whatever the change in velocity it increases, or whatever the velocity is increased velocity, that is known as the positive acceleration. Okay, which means if suppose you have a velocity of 5 meter per second initially and your final velocity will be 10 meter per second there. Okay, then that is called as the positive acceleration, which means whatever the change in velocity is positive one, whatever the your speed or whatever the velocity is increased there. Okay, so increases the velocity here. Okay, so that is called as the positive acceleration. Okay, so you can also find out in 5 seconds suppose. Okay, you can also find out its acceleration, you will get the positive value there. What is the final velocity there? 10 meter per second. What is the initial velocity there? 5 meter per second. And what is the time? That is the 5. Okay, so acceleration will be the 10 minus 5 divided by 5, that is the 1 meter per second square. Okay, so that is the acceleration. Okay, now before moving to negative acceleration, okay, we should know about the unit of acceleration. Okay, so unit of acceleration here, what is the unit of acceleration? So at the top there is a velocity, unit of velocity is meter per second, and whatever the unit of time is the second, so it become meter per second square, that is the unit of acceleration. Got it? Okay. So what is the positive acceleration? When your velocity is increases, okay, from by the initial velocity, it means you have the positive acceleration. You will get the positive value there. Okay. Now negative acceleration. Negative acceleration in your in the positive acceleration, your velocity increases there. So again, opposite to that, in the negative acceleration, your velocity will be decreased there. Okay. So if suppose you have the velocity of 10 meter per second initially, okay, and so you are decreasing your speed and it becomes suppose 5 meter per second. It means initial velocity is 10 meter and your final velocity is 5. So there is a decrease in a speed. When there is a decrease in speed, your acceleration is called as the negative acceleration. Okay. Decrease in velocity. Got it? Okay. So that is the negative acceleration. It is also called as the retardation. Or deceleration. Okay, negative acceleration is called as the retardation, deceleration. You will get the negative value here. What is the formula of acceleration? Acceleration is nothing but the final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time. What is the final velocity? 5 minus 10 divided by time. Suppose 5 seconds. 5. You will get the minus 5 by 5, so minus 1 meter per second square. Okay, so you will get the negative value there. Okay, and last one is the zero acceleration. Okay, so zero acceleration is what? When there is no any change. When there is no any change in the velocity of the object. म्हणजे velocity मध्येच काही बदल झालेला नाही. म्हणजेच काय युनिफॉर्म velocity असेल तेव्हा. Uniform velocity or constant, you can call it as the constant speed. No change in velocity. If the object moving in a constant speed, if object has object don't have any change in velocity, okay, म्हणजेच तो काही constant speed ने गेलेला आहे तेव्हा he has the zero acceleration. Okay, that time his motion is said to be in a zero accelerated motion. Okay, for example, suppose you are moving with the speed of 10 meter per second. After 5 seconds, your speed will be again same 10 meter per second. After whatever the time interval, you have a constant speed. Okay, so it means there is no any change in velocity. Okay, by the formula you can solve it as the, suppose acceleration, that is the v minus u divided by t. What is the what is your final velocity? 10 there. And what is your initial velocity? Again 10 there. Your time will be 5 there. Okay, so 10 minus 10, 0 divided by 5. If there is a 0, whatever the value becomes 0 there. Okay, got it? So that is the zero acceleration. Okay, let us recall again. Positive acceleration, when object increases the velocity, then it is called as the positive acceleration. If the object decreases the velocity, then it is called as the retardation, deceleration, or the negative acceleration. If object is moving in a uniform velocity, has the constant speed, if there is no any change in velocity, that is called as the zero acceleration. Got it? Okay, so that is the acceleration.